Welcome to a nutty adventure exploring personal growth and wellness, breaking down the stigma around mental health along the way. Let's dive in because now it's time to show me your nuts.
Good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. It's about time to get nutty for the week. And this week in the States anyway, we're getting nutty because we're going to take the rest of the week off. Well, at least some people do. So I am slowly waking up this morning, so this might be a sleepy nutty show. But it's a good one to wrap up our values month. So I can't believe November's coming to a close already. It's like, really? No, wait, November. That means then 26 is already here. I actually was creating my holiday cards for my audience uh, over the weekend and yesterday, and I sent out a Thanksgiving card this morning. If you're on my email list, you got it, and if you're not, why not? Why are you not on my email list? Because then you would have had a really cool Thanksgiving card today. So if you're not, check out stacybraiuca.com and find somewhere to get on my email list. There's lots of freebies, and that'll get you on the list. That's not what the show's about, but it's that time of year. So, yeah, and actually when it comes to values and it comes to cards and sending cards, I was thinking about this a little while ago. Because I just ordered some physical cards to hand write in because I want to be more sang. And if you know, you know. So I ordered some really, really cute cards to send out, but I'm thinking about how do physical cards fit in my values? And physical cards only fit in my values when I know the person is going to enjoy it so much they might keep the card. Because physical, especially paper, has become a different value to me. And the reason for that is there's so many things that we did it historically on paper that we don't have to have paper for anymore. And to me, it makes paper itself can become more precious. And it's not that you don't use paper at all, it's you use it when it is the most precious thing. Because we should save those resources. Kinda like, what do we do to our water and water that's drinkable? Because that water in many native communities, one of the things we say is water is life. Because literally, if you don't have drinkable water, you're effed, right? So I'm gonna look in the comments because I'm bringing. Oh, speaking of the sangness, there she is. You popped in and heard your name. Yes, it's synchronicity. Ollie is right. It is synchronicity. I love that. That's one of the and special pens for all kinds of paper. Yeah. So we should be more thoughtful of the physical things we choose. And those of us who grew up in a world where that wasn't the case, it's kind of a hard journey. It's a hard journey for me to get rid of things because to me that's also waste. Like, yes, we collected the things before we realized things were taking up resources. And But then the getting rid of things, and it all comes back to your values, it all comes back to how you feel about yourself, it comes back to lots of feels. And and so I was thinking about that when I ordered physical cards, um, because I I I don't send physical cards very often at all. And I actually have a reason that I want to send some specific cards out. So I wanted very particular cards, and I found the cutest cards and the cutest things to put in the cards. Because I am a gift giver. I do love giving people things that are meaningful, um, so that we're connected. It's like when you give somebody something, you're connected. So some of my values you can see from that. And I had to think about, did I want to burden another individual with a physical object that means something to me? Would it mean that to them? And what would they do with it? And it's their choice what they do with it. I hopefully they'll, like, read it, enjoy it, and it brings them joy. And actually, the reason I'm doing cards is because I'm gonna put some little things in it, and a nutty note, of course. Yes, sang. It will have nutty notes. And, I'm not sending these out to the entire world, but I am sending them to some select individuals who are getting some very, fun gifts from me this year. Now, hopefully, they'll get them before the end of the year, but, I don't like going to the post office, so this is a long journey for me. Like, I ordered the stamps a couple weeks ago. I ordered the cards today. I had all the things because I was gonna give some of them in person, and then yeah, so it just takes forever for me to do things like that. So it could be next Christmas, it could be next Thanksgiving, next Christmas before they get things. We'll see. We'll see. Um, and then they will receive that. Yes, it will be in perfect and divine timing because that's the way it's gonna be. Um, so, bringing that back to values, it hits my values in the holding of um, physical objects, both what the person does with an object I gift them, but also what I do with objects that I am gifted. And, there's obviously sometimes when you get a card, you can't keep the card forever, but I absolutely 1,000% always take a digital picture of it now. Now that we have that opportunity, it's like, yes, before I throw which takes longer to throw things away simply because you got to have pictures of all the things so that you still keep something. You still have a memory. Now, obviously, we always will have the memory up here, but I'll take digital memory too, because this one doesn't always work so well. Um, and sang. I'm gonna make you come on stage, girlfriend. And I have time to do the cards because I don't put up a Christmas tree. All right, y'all. Um, I just got outed. My husband and I have not put up a Christmas tree in probably 25 years. And the reason is we don't have children to enjoy the tree. We don't have people come to our house to enjoy the tree. So why spend the time that I could be spending out of the house with the other people's putting up a tree? Why spend the time and the money to put the tree and the thing when I could actually spend the time with other people and I could spend the money giving them gifts or doing something else? It comes back to values. Nothing against those who put trees up and those who decorate. Absolutely do joy the way you do joy, because your values and how you do that joy is vital for your household and for your own joy. And yes, I can imagine that at 92, Jessica is gonna be putting up a tree by herself at 92. She better not be by herself at 92. I'm just saying those children better be around and have others around, with them. So, Ollie, a couple of years ago, he had thrown a drawing away that he'd done 33 years, but look, uh, I thrown a drawing that I did 33 years ago, but I took a picture written in 1993 for my grandpa for his birthday. I'll tell you what, pictures of things from our people who've gone on is just vital. And I think that's the how do you keep the things? Obviously, like I said, our unconscious mind keeps the memories, so we can keep those here. But how else do you maintain your joy? Um, I think maintaining joy is also family recipes and values of valuing family recipes. I have a book that I was gifted at my wedding. That is a blank journal, and it came with 3 or 4, maybe 6 or 10, I don't know, can't remember, family recipes in it that were handwritten. My aunt and uncle, and they had received a book like this at their wedding, and I've gifted others this, is a book with with some handwritten family recipes, and the idea is to continue to fill it up with additional family recipes. So I actually gave that book to my grandma. um no, I take that back. She passed. Yeah, I did. I gave the book to my grandma, and she passed before she could write in it, but when I got it back from my um, the household where she was, it had a couple of her handwritten recipe cards in it. And don't you know, I took those recipe cards and I taped them bad boys in the book right away because it's in her handwriting. And I have photos of recipes in text messages from my mom about some of her recipes that are written in her handwriting. I'd much rather have a recipe written in handwriting than I would typed. I know that sounds weird for the digital girl, but just, so like recipes passed down are super high value for me. And those recipes in that book. And for holidays, those recipes are important. So last night I was playing a trivia game with a bunch of people who cheated, and I mean who beat me. And it was fun. I'm gonna have to admit, I'm not a pop culture girl, but it was absolutely joyful. It was absolutely joyful. And but one of the things we talked about afterwards was also we were talking about what our favorite holiday cookie is. And one of my favorite holiday sweets is my grandpa's fudge that I used to help him make when we were kids. And also, and this isn't marshmallow. This isn't that marshmallow crap that people make during the holidays. This is absolutely not that. This is real old school, made the old way in a heavy, you had to have a certain kind of heavy pot, and you had to boil the mixture until it was at hard soft ball stage. And if you don't know, then go look it up. Go. That's all I can say. Go look it up. I used to help him make it, and for the longest time I was his, well, still am his oldest grandchild, but then my brother and I were the only grandkids they had, and until 30 years later my cousin Ian came along, and thank God he did, because he now makes Pappy's fudge. And they're in New York and we're in Kansas City, and they make fudge and mail it to us. And we make my great grandma's recipe for shortbread that came over from Scotland with her on the boat through Ellis Island. We make the shortbread and we send that to New York. So we swap the family, the rest, not just the recipe. We swap the actual items in the mail every year. And so I might not put up a tree, but I got me some family traditions and I got me some values on those. So tell me in the chat what your favorite holiday value and thing is. And while you're at it, tell me your favorite holiday recipe or your favorite holiday sweet that you eat. Or the favorite holiday sweet you'd like. Cannolis, Jessica. Cannolis to Kansas City, please. Cannolis to Kansas City. um, or at least cannoli filling. It can be cannoli filling and chips. Cannoli chips and cannoli filling to Kansas City, please. Ollie's favorite value being with his dad on Christmas time. Dude, I'm with you. If I could do one more Christmas with my dad, if I could do another Christmas with my dad, I so would. And my pappy and my dad, my mom's dad. I'd love it. We've got panettone and chocolate bouche. I think that I'm saying that one right. There's the bouche Noel. Who else has got the sweet? Sang with the sweet potato pie. We might have to talk, girl. Maybe we can exchange some shortbread for serving a shortbread for a serving of sweet potato pie. Yeah, yeah. Since we're close, since we're physically close. And all of the Christmas cookies, absolutely all of the Christmas cookies. And there's so many Christmas oh, no. I have come to value the fruitcake. I know it sounds strange. My mother-in-law loves fruitcake. And I have come to value because it's nuts and sweet. And it's what they made that would last, like the history of it. I think that's where it got me. It got me with the history. Fruitcake got me with the fact that, like, I'll eat the fruitcake for you, girl. I'll eat the fruitcake for you. We'll just call it that. Oh, driving the kids around on Christmas Eve to look at the lights and coming home to have hot chocolate. That's a fun tradition. Our holiday, see, I needed you guys on stage this morning. And you know where the studio is. Come find me if you want. Because this show is gone completely off the rails today. We're just going off the rails. Although I will bring up the nutty thing here in a minute and we'll do a nutty thing. But our Christmas traditions on Christmas, we do our Christmas on Christmas Eve. We always have my entire life. So the only thing I know of Christmas Eve was going to my grandparents' house, which I'm currently sitting in actually, because it's now my house, has been for 25 years. And it's probably been that long since it's had a tree up, yes. Coming here and in the evening, and we'll have dinner, a honey baked ham, my grandpa's potatoes in the crock pot, which I still make now. That's my recipe that I do. They're au gratin potatoes done in the crock pot, and they are yummies. If you're in Kansas City, you know. And then various other foods. And we would eat our dinner, and then we would have all of the presents. Well, we would all sit around and we open presents one by one. Take a present out from under the tree, open it, and each person, the room focuses on the person opening the gift and what they get, and then discussions happen and jokes and this and that, and literally would last and still last sometimes till 1 or 2 in the morning. Used to last till 1 or 2. We don't always make it that far anymore. But then Christmas Day would be at my dad's family, which actually is up the street from here, is where they lived. And my cousins, I have 8 cousins on that side of the family, including my brother. So we've got 7 cousins and us. And all of, my 3 uncles, and we would have Christmas there. Well, when my grandma passed and eventually my dad passed, now Christmas Day, and I got married, Christmas Day became with my husband's family. And now we've combined it, and now we do my husband's family at lunchtime on Christmas Eve, my family in the evening, and then Christmas Day we chill. So everybody else does their chill and drink hot chocolate and stuff on Christmas Eve. We do all of the things, and then we do chill. So we're back asswards. That's all there is. We're back asswards. So there's a bunch of stuff going on here about teleporting and saying, be careful. I'm married to an Italian dude. He gets revenge. And sometimes he's a little whatever. So I'm not sure if Christmas trees in our front yard would work. Then again, you'd need to find the yard first. That probably wouldn't be that hard. I think you've got the address. Um, so, and oh my gosh, chocolate, you've got to have 70+%, even if you're drinking it in the hot chocolates. I mean, oh, a dark, my thing I would love to learn how to make, to totally learn how to make, is a thick Italian or French dark chocolate that's more, yes, it's still sippable, but it's barely sippable because it's like somewhere in between hot chocolate and pudding. That's what I want. I wanna know how to make that. I'd imagine it's Italian. I don't think it's a Sicilian thing. I don't know. I'd have to ask the Sicilian if she's still in the audience. Um, so let me get back to my notes here and see if we can at least do an energy check of a scale of, let's see how charged everybody's nuts are today. All right, y'all. How charged are your nuts? On a scale from 1 acorn to 10 sticky notes, sang. On a scale of 1 acorn to 10 sticky notes, how strategic are your values in building your life? 1 acorn to 10 sticky notes. How strategic are your values to building your life? Ollie's got 12 sticky notes. Sang's in toddler stages of creating traditions, but I know the girl's got sticky notes, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the number. An 8.3 with a possible 9.5 on the strong days. Okay. Are those sticky notes acorns or are they acorn-shaped sticky notes? That's the important part. We got to know, like, are they sticky notes? Are they acorn-shaped sticky notes, or are they and is it 8.3 sticky notes? Because I want to see what that looks like. And Jessica's always an 8. 8, if you turn an 8 on its side, you know what it turns into, right? So I think, like, always room to grow, but you're also infinitely powerful. Yes, I said it. Ollie has Ollie, you live in the land of chocolate too. Ollie has special chocolate, and Ollie definitely lives in the land of amazing chocolates. And he's got access to Sangs. Oh, okay. All right, I get it. Instead of acorns, it's one of these Tuesdays, I'm going to ask about people's biscuits. I'm going to say in a scale of 1 acorn to 10 biscuits. What do you got? How are your biscuits, babies? And Ollie's definitely got bringing the sticky notes. So let's dive into our values a little bit. How we develop strong, developing personal value statements. I think figuring out what our top values are is not something we like talk about at the breakfast table always, or talk about when we're out to dinner with friends. It's not like you sit down to dinner and go, "Hey, what are your top 3 values?" Unless you're me, and then I've done that before, actually, to my mom and my brother and a couple other people. But, like, if you're not weird like the Squirrel Wrangler, you don't just sit down at a dinner table and go, "What are your top 3 values?" and have a discussion about them. But I think well, We are. We're not weird, but we're yeah, we talk about fun stuff. Right? Saying. Um and you guys are getting me off track again, because here we go with, you mean biscuits, when you turn an 8 sideways, you've got double biscuit. You've got double biscuit for sure. Um, and I'm not quite sure what this comment means, but Chemical Soup TV on Twitch, thanks for tuning in and uh, joining the discussion. Um, so I think discussion of our values, and I see some people sneaking in. I will get there. Um, Discussion of our values is something that can take our relationships themselves to another level. Um, it can cause crashes in the relationship too if you're not careful. But I think any communication about what's under the surface of our skin and what's really making our heart beat and what's really making us go through life, any communication about it levels the relationship up. And communication without discussing what happened can take the relationship down. So you can have a situation where you've got a relationship and something happens, some communication happens, and you don't talk about what happens, and that can bring the relationship down, or it can actually fully destroy a relationship. Or you can take a situation where something happens and both people think about it and both people come together and talk about it, and it can level the relationship up because you've not only discussed what happened, you've discussed the underneath part. What are the values and beliefs and opinions and thoughts and feelings that were all underneath. So in the world that I have historically lived in as a therapist, um, there's discussion of cognitive behavioral therapy and that it does everything. Well, it doesn't. That's bullshit. And I might get called out for this, but CBT is just a, a bunch of stuff that's sold to make money and keep people in therapy. I don't think it actually helps people get through the things they need to get farther, because we don't go underneath the thoughts and feelings that are in cognitive behavioral therapy. When you go underneath the things that happen, and you go underneath that in cognitive behavioral therapy, and you get to the beliefs, the values, and the opinions that are underneath the thoughts and feelings, then you're getting somewhere. Then you're going to level up. Then you're going to make it through things, and you're going to get to the other side of them, instead of just staying in I had this thought and this feeling. Yes, recognizing those things is important. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm going to get called out from my colleagues, and that's fine. I've been in the field long enough, and I feel incredibly confident in my experience, skills, and abilities with clients that I have helped take them past what other therapists have, because I've done this instead of that, is that I take them underneath those thoughts and feelings. It's great to understand and be able to figure out what your thoughts and feelings are underneath a situation. Absolutely. And it's a great starting place. But if all you do is look to the thoughts and feelings, and you don't go underneath to the values and the beliefs, the values, like, I value love, I value family, I value discussions, I value sending cards, I value whatever the values are, and then the beliefs. I believe that in order to be a hard worker, I have to uh, work 100 hours a week. That's a belief based on a value of hard work, and but it doesn't have always a value of time. It has just the value of hard work and maybe a value of money, but it could cause the person to kill themselves based on working 100-hour weeks. Without going into all of that, what I'm saying is underneath the roots of, and I love this comment of how beneath do we go? What's the root of it all? The roots of it all are underneath in our values, in our belief systems, and in our programming in our unconscious mind. The programming in our unconscious mind is what causes us to figure out which beliefs or which values are ours, what value things we value. Those values are building blocks for our beliefs. Those beliefs are building blocks for our opinions. And then all of that is underneath our thoughts and our feelings. And our thoughts and our feelings and all of those things cause our behaviors and our choices, which is end up usually in behaviors. Our behaviors with other people's behaviors is what causes situations to be good or not good. And then there are lessons that come from that. In order to figure it all out, you've almost got to take the path backward through everything. You start with the what lesson did you learn? You look at what interaction or behaviors happened between the people. Then you look at what thoughts and feelings were under it. But if you don't go underneath that and get into the values, beliefs, and opinions underneath that, and then the programming underneath that, you will never change what the thoughts and feelings are, and thusly what the behaviors are, thusly what happens. You have to go underneath all of it. So I love that question, Chemical Soup TV. Thank you for bringing it. And we've got chocolate in the house. Ollie, welcome to the stage.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me properly?
Properly and coming in hot. Or not hot, but
Amazing.
coming in. You're there.
Because
You're
I have two surprises for you. The first surprise is that I'm already prepared for Christmas. I have already my Christmas sweater.
has come to Europe.
Exactly.
Christmas has come to Europe. Ollie's in his now do they do ugly sweater things over there?
Well, do you think that it's an ugly?
Do they have like contests that they call ugly sweater contests there?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, see, yeah, here it's a thing. It's this ugly sweater contest things, and that's one of those things where pop culture Stacy goes, no, I don't need to do pop culture that way. But I do love the sweater. It's nice. And
I have a second surprise for you.
And you look classy.
Thank you. And I have a big announcement for you because since many years, you know probably that I'm in Belgium, and that's the country of chocolate. But since last year, in May 2024, I've been, or 2025, I don't recall, but I think it was 2024, I was meeting a friend, and she gave me, this is just a little part, she gave me a piece of chocolate, but it's not chocolate to eat. Although I try, you see this like I try, but this is a chocolate to grate, to grate, like cheese, to make hot chocolate. And since she offered me that, it's 99% from Trinidad and Tobago. Since that particular day, I officially declared that the best chocolate in the world is not from Belgium. The best chocolate in the world is from Trinidad and Tobago, because we don't grow.
Say, is that like blasphemy to say that the best chocolate's not from Belgium?
No, I have to admit, but because we just export them. But initially, the cacao is not from Belgium. Probably in few years with climate change, when it's going to be 40, 45 degrees, Celsius, maybe. But until then, it's outside. And it's really, it's amazing 99%.
The cacao from Trinidad and Tobago is the best chocolate, apparently.
Yeah, that's it. That's my claim. As a Belgian, that's my claim.
Well, you guys heard it on Show Me Your Nuts first. The best chocolate is from TNT in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ollie, I hope you have amazing holidays. I know you guys aren't, obviously here in the States, we're celebrating a holiday this week.
Mhm.
And as a native person, it's a celebration, but it's also it's not a celebration for us because it's kind of like well, to me, Columbus Day is not a celebration. I call it Invasion Day, and I
Mm.
wear all black that day
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the discussion of Columbus finding this continent and causing the beginnings of colonization means that some of the people that I come from were subjugated and colonized then. So
Mhm.
to me, it's like Invasion Day. Now, Thanksgiving,
Mm.
yeah, there's the whole like we grew up as kids here. We grew up as kids learning about Thanksgiving, and we dress as pilgrims and Indians, and we don't
Mm.
know we I don't think we really grasped what that meant, especially in the suburbs of the U.S. We didn't realize that it was Native folks teaching the immigrants how to survive so that they would survive because we cared about other humans' survival. We wanted
Mm.
other humans to survive. We
Mm.
not realizing that the other humans who survived were going to colonize us and cause us to die. And that's the short
Exactly.
and the kind of whatever. And it's uh I mean, we don't have time travel as it could be yet. We do have timeline work for sure. Um
Mm.
and Jessica, yeah, timeline work. Anybody wants to know what timeline work is, let me know. That is what I
Mm.
do. But time travel, I haven't figured out yet. And I
Mm.
don't know if any of us have completely where we could go back and change the course of history. And to be honest, in a way, do we want to? Because lessons come from those big events also.
Mm.
There's plenty of big events in our world where uh, as humans, as human beings, which we all are, I don't care where you're from, um, that we, because of our histories and the things that we learn,
Mm.
then hopefully that causes us as human beings to level up
Yes.
as we learn more. And I think things like technology actually are important pieces of it because without certain technologies, there wouldn't be somebody here sitting in Missouri in the United States and someone from Belgium on the same screen discussing things. And it wouldn't be the
Exactly.
same as us writing letters to each other 100 years ago. It just wouldn't be the same way of because we wouldn't have the nonverbals. I wouldn't notice
E-
that you just now shook your head. You wouldn't have Trinidad and Tobago chocolate, quite likely.
Yeah.
You might
Exactly.
not have that. Um,
Yeah. I have three things to share because you remind me that recently I've been witnessing the passing of the oldest survivor of a massacre in 1921. I don't know precisely her name, probably Violetta, but I'm not sure. And she
mhm.
passed away at 111 years old. And so it's about remembering. Then
Yes.
something that is, apologize for the imbalance, something that at school, my French teacher taught me French, but also critical thinking. And I read
Mm,
a lot of books like Brave New World, watching Metropolis, and one book that exists in English, translated in French, L'un jour au soleil, in English, To Spoil the Sun. I really recommend
mm,
anyone. It's not to me a famous known book, but it's from Joyce Rockwood, Rockwood, and it's
mhm,
about a fictitious story in the 15th century of an Amerindian woman, and they were talking about the an illness. I think it was the monkeypox, but I'm not sure. But it was an illness that was from the people invading South and North America.
Yeah.
And so I loved so much this book because as a young child, I was 11, 12 years old. It was like critical thinking. He brought us lots of books that were also very challenging, like books of a young sister talking about the illness of her elder sister, the leukemia, all these kind of stories. And for me, it's about deciding awareness. Like when you have to, where you talk about thoughts, behaviors, habits. When we want to change, we have to be aware first. And so either we
Yes.
are aware ourselves, but most of the time it's people around us that are making us aware, because we are in our painting. We really cannot really see the full
I
picture
love
of
that. We're
our
in our own
painting.
painting. Yeah, we're in the
Yeah,
painting. We can't see out,
yeah,
and we have to be able to see out of it. And we've got to be able to see the rest of the world is like a mirror to us. And once we become aware that that is the case, where like one example I like to give is you're driving along, you're in the car, you're driving, and you get mad because somebody cuts you off in traffic. What you're really mad at is not always the person who cut you off, but you're mad because you have cut other people off before, and you don't like what you see you don't like your own behavior, and it's that mirrored perspective. And when you realize that is that, and it's not always with the people cutting you off in traffic. Sometimes it's other things, but it's when you realize that it's our own stuff that we need to understand first, and that when we go inward and realize what the world is mirroring to our painting, and that we realize what's in the painting with us and what we really are, then you can realize you take the way I describe it is taking responsibility for your own shit. When you can actually take responsibility for your own stuff. And it's not easy, because usually it means looking back and seeing something you don't like, looking into your own painting and seeing something you don't like about yourself. But when you realize that it is your own stuff, and you can take responsibility for it and go, ooh, I just did that to my friend Ollie, and I don't like that. I don't like it when other people do it to me. I just did that to my friend, and I don't like that. When you realize that, and then you go inward and do that journey of, why did I do it? How can I do it differently? How can I change? Then it's that journey of change and transformation, not only to change yourself and to do things differently, but what would it do then to that relationship with my friend Ollie if I tell my friend Ollie, I am so sorry that I did this. I realize I don't like it when people do that to me, and I did that to you, and I apologize. Or as the Hawaiian folks do it, and in its beautiful ceremony, and I just saw my book this morning about this, Ho'oponopono. I've got a book in the other room, and I just came across it this morning. If you
yeah, I
haven't
know.
heard of Ho'oponopono, look
Of
it
course,
up.
yeah,
I'll actually put a thing in the chat about Ho'oponopono, because it's that important that we all learn
yeah.
it.
I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. In the
Yeah.
disorder.
So it's a process of, and it's a forgiveness ceremony, and they so to me that hits several places to me. One, as a Native person, seeing other Native people, that they take these things that they're so important that we put them in ceremony, and that it's a process where you not only forgive the other person for something, but also forgiving of self. It's forgiving of
Yes.
self, asking forgiveness of the other person, giving them forgiveness. It's all the way around. And it's a way to have a fresh slate all the time with people. And it's not done just, oh, I'm sorry. No, 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 no. It is very intentional.
Mm,
very much thoughtful, very much bringing your senses and your physicality into it. Um, and I think like last month's word was integrity, and how we talked about being all in. It's like being all in a in forgiveness. It's being all in that
mm,
forgiveness, both with what did you do, what the other person might have done, what
yeah.
happened between you, and
And I have a great metaphor for that.
yeah.
That someone once in your life gave you a poison, but also in perspective, a poison could be a cure. Depends on the quantity. So the person can
Mm,
probably think the person is giving you a cure, but it's poison for you. That's the first aspect. But then this person gave it to you once, and by not forgiving the person and by not forgiving yourself, you are constantly swallowing the same poison again and again and again and again and again.
mm. That one's deep, Ollie. That one's deep. So, yeah, so I think we've kind of brought it back around to the values of, like, and I think one value, I've said talked about this before, and I talked about the reason that integrity was the word last month is that is my highest word. If people talk about words of the year, they talk about, to me, I talk about like what is my core? My core word is
Mm,
integrity, and it has multiple meanings. It has lots of things under it. It's not just that one word. But and everybody has their own words, and I love that because I love finding out like what's that person's one word, and how do they encapsulate it, because they're going to encapsulate it different than I am. Like even if their
mm,
words the same, and how do they encapsulate it, and learning how our similarities and differences, because we, as humans, one, we start with one similarity that we all have is that we're all human beings,
mm,
straight up, right? But then the other similarities of, we do share similar values. No matter what our opinions and beliefs are, our values are frequently this, there's values that we have that are the same. And
mm,
so when we can get back to that core and realize our similarities, then we can examine our own beliefs and opinions and see how they're structured, and sometimes question them, but at
mm.
least understand them deeper. And we can respect, as long as we can respect, understand, and believe, or understand others' ways they put the building blocks together in their beliefs and opinions,
Yeah.
get somewhere, we step up that next level towards understanding each other as different human beings, because
Yeah.
there's 8.2 billion
Mm.
different ones of us.
And I
Every
have a deep and I have a deep reflection on that because I was thinking about you might know maybe the scarf model, because each of us have different values. So there is status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. These are five umbrellas probably, but I might have one or two or three of them on different orders, and you two different. So it's also important to know ours and to know each other's value. But
oh,
also, I was reflecting also, um, maybe my value, well, maybe someone or my value comes from pain. Like I was
mm,
having myself, or I was seeing outside something that caused me pain, and from that particular moment, I say, "This is my value. I will not let anyone da 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 again."
so you know what you don't want in life. Yeah, it's our values can come from what we want, and it can come from what we don't want. And that actually also, I think, goes into, that's where you take values and you work into the world of boundaries, because I think it's, you have to understand and define your values, your beliefs, your opinions, your thoughts, and your feelings before you can then figure out what your boundaries are. And then what you figure out your boundaries are of what you will and won't accept. When I work with clients, I call it your go and no go list. When you figure out what your go and no go lists are, then you can start crafting yourself and your world to where you fit better in what your go and no go lists are. Like my no go list may include people who aren't all in. I'm not necessarily going to associate with myself with them as freely if they're not all in when they do things. Right? And that's because I value myself, that when I say, Ollie, I will call you tomorrow, that I am going to follow through on calling you tomorrow. Right? To me, I'm all in with what I say. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Obviously, unless like you get sick or this or that, things do happen, and that's what forgiveness is there for. But it's not for just, oh, well, oops, I forgot. No, when I say I'm going to do something, I, as much as humanly possible, I put myself in. I'm all in. And I appreciate being around other people who are also that way. Now, does that mean I'm going to never be around people who aren't all in? No. But
yeah, and it depends what is your definition.
Circles of Stacy, right?
And it depends what is your definition of being all in, because it might be your definition that is yours, but maybe someone else would think, oh, I'm all in signifies this.
Absolutely.
So maybe also having our own definition. That means also that you need for clarity, you talk about to others. What does it mean for you to be all in?
Exactly. You've got to have the communication with it. And what is that not so perfect that I have the language enthusiast sitting in the seat in here with me and show me your nuts today? Because our language we use, and those who like are brilliant enough to know multiple languages, because I have one that I speak and know, and the others I kind of know little bits. But that language and communication are imperative to understanding and respecting each other. And so I value those who communicate also. So communication is another thing you can value.
Yeah, and non-communication is a message. Non-communication is also communication.
Absolutely.
Heard, we cannot not
is
communicate.
Not just verbal words coming out. It's when you are silent. That's also a communication. Yeah. And I think just because, so for example, if someone doesn't hear from me for a month, that doesn't mean I don't value them. That means I haven't been able to, for whatever reason, communicate with them through the month. Now, does that mean I don't value the communication between myself and that person? That's not true either, right? What it means is, life happens, right? And I'm going to circle us back around to those cards, because I'm not a card sender in general. I don't pick birthday cards out and Christmas cards out and this and that. Like, I'm not the one that like is able to pick out really good ones. My husband's damn good at it. He's really good. My mother-in-law's good at it. I've got people around me who are really good at picking out really fun, perfect cards for individuals for things. And I think that's a really cool thing. I'm not good at it. But I think we can value the other person in the communication, even if we're not able to do it all the time, because life happens. And I think it makes because I'm not a card sender, those who are getting ready to receive these cards I'm getting ready to send, hopefully they know that what it took for me to send a card out meant even more, because I went through all the things like that I don't like doing, like going to the post office, like taking the time or it's not that I don't like taking the time to find a card. It's just I don't always find cards. Like I'm not finding individual cards. I found a box of cards that everybody's getting the same card.
Mhm.
It's going to have different words in it because they're blank cards and I'm going to write the words. But, like I think it's like if I got a card, well, I got a card not long ago from somebody who lives in Kansas City named Sang. And it was a surprise. And it was so precious to have, and I have the card, is that she took the time to think of me. And then I figured out that like that was something that she loved. And so, yeah, I think we figure out what is valuable to each of us. And then we go from there. I do have another question in the audience. I love this. Aren't values based on beliefs, not the other way around? No.
Ooh.
Values are the building blocks of beliefs. Our values are how we build our beliefs. Those are the building blocks of the beliefs and of the opinions. So actually values are building blocks of beliefs. Beliefs are building blocks of opinions. And values, beliefs, and opinions are not the same thing. Absolutely not the same thing. Now I'd love to hear from the audience of, like you're saying it's the other way around. I'm not sure how it could be the other way around because the thing that we value is core to our, is core to our programming. And by programming, I mean that our unconscious mind programming. Oh, and how do you decide what's valuable? That's a good one. Well, we do decide. I love where you're going with this because I do think that I think we decide what's valuable is our programming gives us that. We find out what's valuable through, and then we're going into some weeds and I'm going to try and we don't have enough time in the show to go that far deep in them entirely, but we decide what's valuable based on our unconscious mind programming, which is generally between 0 and 6 or 7 years old. And so it's not so much a decision as a programmed situation. Now we do change those later, and we change them later based on our experiences and based on a choice of what is valuable to us. But I don't know that I wouldn't say that it's, I'm going to still say that beliefs are things like, I believe that that hard work is only when you work 100 hours a week. Well, that may be true for my belief, but may not be true for somebody else's. And we might both share the value of hard work, but our belief about hard work is different. And so that's why I say it's built, the beliefs are built on building blocks of values. That's why I say that.
Yeah. And I truly believe also there is really a huge part, especially when we are babies and children, about emotions. Because it's our emotions that are emotions are from the heart. And so I truly believe that when we study neuroscience and the brain, we should also embark the heart and the gut and the emotions when we are, I truly believe that emotions are a big part when we are having joy or pain or disgust.
Well, and neurology is not just the brain either. Neurology, we have nerves in all of our body, including our gut
and the nervous system also. Yeah,
right. And I'm curious on just is that it could go either way, but I think the perspective I'm bringing it from, it's building blocks based on how our unconscious mind works, and on how, and maybe also it's actually from how the timeline therapy that we were that we alluded to earlier, how that functions. And so I'm not going to dispute or say, oh, it couldn't go the other way. That's ridiculous for me to do, because I'm I'm just a human being and I'm coming from the Stacy Squirrel perspective, and that's all. So I'm not gonna say that that's wrong, because that's just silliness for me. But I'll say that from the perspective of how our unconscious mind builds and runs 95% of our life, I'll say that. If something was not valuable, why would it exist? But valuable according to who? And value according to who? And it's our only beliefs that something is valuable and something is not. I love that question, and I'm going to have to ponder it, and I'm going to have to look at from the perspective of how timeline works, and how our unconscious mind runs our world. I'll say that that's the perspective I'm bringing to it, but I'm going to have to ponder if something was not valuable, why would it, well, I would say, I wouldn't use the word exist, because 8.2 billion of us on the planet, and existence of anything is based on our internal representation of the world. So there's 8.2 billion different ways of looking at the world. And so there's 8.2 billion different ways that something could exist. So the fact that we all create reality by that alone means that I cannot define what anyone else describes as what exists and what doesn't exist. And so in that, I'll say the perspective you hear coming out of this mouth is only Squirrel Wrangler, and that's the only one it can be. And that what I'm hearing from you, Chemical Soup TV, what I'm hearing from Jessica, what Ollie says, what saying, all of those are valid. Every one of our perspectives is absolutely valid, true, and real. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that it's wrong. What I will say, though, is what you've said here is going to make the Stacy one go, oh, how am I going to change my representation of the world? Or how does this change my representation of the world? I'll say that if the exist, that's not going to change my representation of the world, because everything exists. So there's not a why would it,
because it's not in my control. For instance,
well, it exists because I say that exists, and it exists because Ollie says it exists. It exists because Chemical Soup TV says it exists. Everything exists.
That there are values that are not in my control, like destruction, domination of other lands, is not in my value, but it exists because someone has the ball.
Because it exists in someone else's choices, decisions, and behaviors.
Yeah.
So things exist because we all create the existence. We create existence. And therefore, that's why it exists. Now, the beliefs that it is only our belief that something is valuable and something is not. I don't know that that existence is because of the value, but that one's one. That's the part I'm going to think on. I love that. And I would love to know who is behind Chemical Soup TV, because I would like to know who you are. I love what you've brought to this show this morning. And
I love your soup.
If there's a way to send me a private message, if you want to, if you're not wanting to, I'd love to know. For one, if you are someone I already know, thank you for bringing the brain food this morning. And if you're somebody I don't know, thank you for bringing the brain food. I love what you've brought, and I'm so glad that
this is super.
For one, somebody from Twitch. I'd love to know who it is, and if there's a way for you to send me a private message or look me up over. I am sure I am far from you. I just love your questions. I love your questions, and I'd love to know. I'd love to know more about you as a person, because you've made me think. And when people make me think, I enjoy getting in discussions with them, and I've enjoyed your input this morning. So whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, Chemical Soup TV, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Ollie, thank you for coming into the studio this morning and hanging out.
With joy, always.
Those, and so since we're going into the word thank you here, and being in the US and it's time for Thanksgiving this week, aside the, how the holiday exists, I'll still say that any holiday that we take a break from our day-to-day whatevers and spend time with each other and enjoy each other's company and enjoy good food, good fellowship, good love, good laughs, good times is valuable no matter what the origin of the thing is. I do absolutely, that's a belief of mine. And I, it's going to force me to rest on Thursday. And the only time I rest is when I force myself or when Jessica sends me the video for Relax by Wham. Those are the only times I relax. And it's definitely up to us to give meaning to the holidays.
And food for thought.
Meaning to anything, right?
Food for thought. There is a last word that is breakfast. Because breakfast is something that we enjoy on the morning, but fast could mean different things. Fast could be quick, and fast could be stop eating. That breakfast means break the fast.
Can be quick, and it can be halt.
Yeah,
it can be stop and not do. So it can be moving quickly, or it could be not doing things. Ooh, Ollie bringing the words as usual.
Always with light, because light means the light. It could be also something that is really light, like the feather.
Ollie, I think you should have I know you have programs, and I'd like for you to put in the chat. Go ahead and put things where people can find you and find out more about language, because I know you have programs and things. Put your Luma calendar so people can follow you and find out.
I will refresh your brain,
and they can find out how to refresh their brain, or
that's it.
Other language, just learning language pieces. I'm going to look at the comments one more time as you guys get me.
We are nuts today.
Oh, there's stuff going on other there in the comments about.
Oh yeah.
Humans and trees and values of trees and whether trees should be put up for Christmas. And here we go again. Everyone in the US have an amazing Thanksgiving week. Everybody around the world have an amazing, get ready for your holidays. And let's get ready for next month, because next month we're diving into the word belief. So we're going to go from values, those building blocks, to how do we put the building blocks together into beliefs? And who knows where we're going to land after today? Who knows where we'll land? So I will see you guys next week. And Ollie, thank you again. Or I'll say merci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. See you guys next week. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you've been brought value today.
Thank you for joining us on this nutty adventure. Remember, personal growth and wellness are journeys best taken together. Keep exploring, keep growing, and don't forget to show me your nuts next time.